Ronnie's been with us for like the last 5 or 6 weeks. It's been really, really cool for me to see a guy I consider a friend develop and become a good godly guy. So that's really cool. And so I just wanted to kind of have him talk a little bit about kind of his life and then what community group's about. Because, if we're honest, I mean, some of us don't know what that is, right? So Ronnie, tell me a little bit about, who you are and then kind of a little bit of your upbringing, your church background.
Okay, so, of course, my name is Rodney Shaw. I don't know if you guys can hear me. Can you guys hear me out there? Put it closer.
Like a rap concert, man.
Yo.
Yeah, there you go.
All right. Okay, but my name is Rodney Shaw. I come from Tacoma, Washington, Lakewood area. Grew up around, Lakewood, East Side area. Grew up going to a Catholic church with my grandma. My grandma had me baptized early when I was an infant into the Catholic church. Really got out of it probably around like the age of 10. My parents didn't really like to go, so they kind of left it up to us. And we, of course, as being kids who didn't really like to go to church, we decided not to go anymore. Kind of got in and out of going to church, like tried a whole bunch of churches, tried Baptist, Presbyterian, Lutheran, tried everything. My dad wasn't really into church as well, so I just tried to find my own identity in church, and this is kind of like the first church that I've found that can kind of relate to me and is a little bit more, I guess, like I can kind of bond with the people here because it's kind of the same thing. We can relate on a lot of the same things. Mm-hmm. And also like going to this sermon and like the morning, the morning sermon as well, it helps going to the community group because you get to talk about what you learned or what, maybe something that's not clear to you. I was kind of iffy on it because I just didn't, I don't know a lot of my views I feel like crazy. I don't know if you guys sometimes feel like that, but I just feel like when I go to the community group, a lot of people feel the same way that I do, and you'll figure that out just by kind of, you kind of put yourself out there on a pedestal, and then it's a little bit more personal as well. So it's like, I don't know, I think it's easier to relate by going to the community group.
So talk me through, you touched on a little bit. Talk me through, okay, I invited you to this community group, right? Mm-hmm. And so you've been in a lot of different churches. Now, what were you thinking when what were you thinking when I said, hey, why don't you come to our community group? What were your first thoughts? You think, oh, that's kind of lame. I mean, I don't want to be a part of that. What were you thinking? Be honest.
More vulnerable, I think, than anything, because it's like you're, somebody, you or, anybody, like your pastor coming up to you and asking you to do something. Of course, you feel obligated to do it. So it felt more. So it felt more at first. It felt more like an obligation. I'll be completely honest. But then in going, it didn't feel like that. It felt more like a friendship. Now I feel a little bit closer to Eddie, to people like Darren, people like Elizabeth, just people like that I wouldn't normally be able to touch base with. And then instead of like, we all come to church, and let's be honest, like a lot of us don't really know a lot of each other's names. So like in that, coming there, you're getting more personal with the people that you go to church with. You're learning more about them. You're learning more about their life, and that kind of helps it to come into church, to be able to know the people that you're going to church with and know a little bit about more about them.
And so, as you develop as a Christian, kind of coming back into your faith after bouncing around a lot of different churches, how do you think, being able to come to Sunday night, Sunday morning service, and then coming into a community group, how does that have any correlation with one or the other? I mean, are you growing in that?
I believe I am growing in that. I always like to pray for certain things that I feel like I need to develop in with Christianity. Mm-hmm. I believe that like going to the different services, I get a good vibe from the first one because I feel like I get the great message. Then I feel like it hits home when I go to come to this this one, and then when I go to community group, it makes it better because now I can talk about it and explain it, like certain things like the one we were talking about when we were talking about how having a closer relationship with God is kind of like a fatherly thing. You have to be able to relate. Like if you've had a great father-son relationship, then you probably have a greater relationship with God. Mm-hmm. That's one thing I probably would have never understood without going to a community group and touching base on it and learning more, and then talking with other people and getting their ideas and their, input on it.
So it's not just me though, right? So it's not like you get Sunday night and then you get to hear me preach again Tuesday, right? It's a discussion, and so talk a little bit about that, being able to actually kind of talk through some of the stuff rather than just kind of absorbing it. What's the biggest difference between hearing the message that God's giving you on Sunday and then also being able to kind of talk out your ideas?
I said being able to talk out your ideas is a little bit better because you can actually talk through them and maybe learn some of the things. I think out loud, some things may sound a little bit different than they sound in your head. You may be able to talk yourself out of it in your head, like, oh yeah, I'm okay, like I'm completely okay with that. But like when you talk it out, it kind of has a different sound to it. I don't know how to really explain it, but it's just, I don't know, it's kind of putting yourself out there.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And then, but other people are doing it as well. So it makes you feel that person, since that person is putting themselves out, you can also put yourself out there. You know what I mean? And to come to church with people that are like that, I think that would build a bigger bond. And like you said, the community and our church community. So
yeah,
that's why I like going to the church community.
And so I'll maybe just leave it at this. So you get to hear other people talk. You put yourself out there. What's it like for you to hear other people kind of give you their heart? Like, you know what, I disagree on something I heard Sunday night, or, I agree with it. I'm really hurting here. Or, people saying, I'm struggling with this. What's it like for you to kind of engage other people other than just the pastor on a weekday? What's that like?
I think it's kind of uplifting because I'm a person, I consider myself a person like kind of like a new guy. I've never really been into church, and now I'm getting more interest in it. And to come in and know that people that have been going to church like their whole lives that have struggled and still struggling with things, I think that's kind of like not to use them as a footstool, but like it helps me because it's like if this person has a problem and this person still needs guidance and they're still coming for help and they're still asking, then what's the difference between me just letting it all out and just saying, oh, I got a problem, what I mean, like, awesome. Hey, here it is.
That is awesome. Okay, so lastly, a lot of these people, most of them are not in a community group, right?
Yeah.
Nearly all of you are not, okay? Why is it important that they join one? And yes, they're not being sold Amway. This is just
I can't really like tell you or force you guys to go because it took myself going. I just say, like, if you have if you have those questions in the back of your head, like, is this wrong? Is this right? I think you should honestly be able to talk to somebody. And I think that's what these community groups are for, is to learn, and nobody's going to tell you, like, I understand, like, somebody could disagree with you, but nobody ever actually goes up and like, you're wrong. You know what I mean? Like, you shouldn't do that. You know what I mean? But I think it's cool to see people like struggle. I mean, I'm sorry to say this. It's cool to see people struggling with it and then they want to actually learn. Like, I think that's the start of it. Like, you want to actually, get better at something. And the only way you can get better at something is by, acknowledging it and then, trying to deal with it. And I think that's what this community group does, is like everybody in there has something that they deal with on a daily basis, something that they go through with, in the back of their heads. They lay down at night, it eats at them. Just to be able to go into a church group, it makes me feel better, to be honest with you. Like, a lot of the things that I deal with in my daily life, in my daily struggles, to be able to, I wait for it. Like, I wait for Sundays to get the message, and then I wait for church community group to be like, oh, yeah, I got something to talk about today. I know, I know I'm going to talk about. So it's great to just be able to come in and know that you can be with a group of people that aren't really going to judge you. They deal with some of the similar struggles that you deal with, or they deal with different struggles. It's good to see people or be with people. It's like being on a team, kind of. You guys are going to struggle and battle together, and, you're going to learn more about each other. So I believe that this community group has helped me become a better Christian in doing that, like learning about other people's struggles and also letting them hear my struggle as well.